everybody, it's AJ. It's close to the weekend, and this is a quick update and a monster video supplemental special request, one of three special requests I'll be doing in quick succession. And this one's on the dragon turtle, um, because, yeah, it's a dragon, and I need completion of that dragon series. So, dragon turtles in 5th edition are not exactly what you'd expect of a dragon turtle traditionally. Now, when I think dragon turtle, I think of a giant island sort of shell that's got foliage and stuff like that on it, and it's just sort of floating around, and then it's not until the thing starts to rumble around or behave strangely that you realize it's actually a living creature. Or something like Terry Pratchett's Great Atuan, which is floating through space with a giant disc world perched on its back, um, supported by 4 elephants. You know, cosmic level hugeness, and really gargantuan size, something that dwarfs the largest whales in our ocean, that sort of thing. Because it says in the monster manual that dragon turtles are among the most fearsome creatures in the oceans, and they are large and voracious as the oldest of the land-based dragonkin, and land-based dragonkin can get to colossal size. So they've listed one here which is gargantuan in size, and that gives us a bit of wiggle room for tactics when you look at a dragon turtle. First of all, they're neutral, so they're only really interested in acquiring treasure and sticking to their own ocean. You know, they don't want to get bothered, and they pick off targets of opportunity. So sailing ships and things which they think may be loaded with treasure are their prey. However, they are smart enough to converse out of ballista range with a ship, because they can speak Aquan and Draconic, and I'd imagine they could pick up Common after a while, conversing with ship captains, so they probably speak a few languages that are local to the area, and they would basically demand treasure in exchange for not sinking the ship, and a wise sea captain would quickly comply. Or if they don't have treasure, come up with something that the dragon turtle could possibly want: food, or news from afar, or a promise, or something like that. So in combat, the gargantuan dragon turtle, now let's imagine this is just sort of your adult and not your ancient dragon turtle, because they don't have separate listings for the different age groups in this one. It is a fearsome beast. It's got a challenge rating 17. It's got an armor class of 20, one of the few creatures in the game that low level characters have a good chance of not being able to hit. It has 341 hit points, base hit points, and it can swim at a speed of 40 feet. It's not that fast on land, only about 20 feet, so it's a lumbering thing. But in the ocean, it's particularly fast and nimble. It's got a dexterity of 10, which is average, right? But when you think about the size of the creature, it's gargantuan, right? It's the size of a galleon. This thing is nimble and can move around. So I imagine this thing can actually spin around in the water alarmingly quickly, like way faster than you think something like that really should, because it's got big, powerful flippers that can quickly swing it around to deliver a slapping tail attack instead of its 2 claw attacks. It's got 3 attacks per round. One of those can be a cone weapon, a fearsome cone blast of steam, elemental magic, or it can use its bite attack and 2 claw attacks. Its bite attack has got a reach of 15 feet. The claw attack's regular 10-foot reach, so this thing's massive. And the tail attack, while ostensibly pretty much the same stats as the bite attack, it does have the added bonus of pushing creatures back. It's a DC 20 strength saving throw, although pushed away 10 feet, as it slaps them and knocks them prone. Now, prone in the ocean just basically means floating, but you could rule that they can't move for a moment as the swirling eddies push them back. And on land, of course, this thing can spin around in circles and sort of lumber forward and things, but it's really quite devastating in the water. Now, I like to think that not only can it unleash the steam breath weapon, which is DC 18 Constitution saving throw, it will take 52 points of damage in a cone that stretches out 60 feet, so it's a boof, blast of steam. But it can also use this thing underwater, and it can also use it to propel itself at extreme speed. So imagine that this thing actually releases a cone of steam underneath itself and launches itself out of the water in a surprise attack against a ship. That would be devastating. Or perhaps even propels itself clean out of the water, jumps straight over a ship, knocks out the mast, and blasts everybody on the ship with a strafing run cone of that steam that goes from bow to stern. sort of just like flips over and just does a kung fu master trip and just blasts steam across the entire ship and then lands with a huge wave of water, all the while, roaring and unleashing its full might on them. It's got dark vision, it's got passive perception, it's got resistance to fire, which is applicable in water and land. And yeah, it's a pretty gnarly beast. It's certainly quite a tank. Now, this is a neutral creature, so it would easily ally with underwater races. They list here the Sahorgan and sea elves and um, uh, they can cross over into the elemental plane of water, so elemental beasts and things like that, quite easily. Any sort of thing that would live on a coral reef, mermaids, mermen, merpeople, that sort of thing, sea elves. Perhaps even a particularly charming hag, sea hag, might possibly have an evil tinted dragon turtle at her beck and call, something that's been injured by the past and has got a really real hate of the surface folk. Maybe one that got harpooned as a hatchling for no real good reason other than the fact that it was there, and it's just got an abiding hatred for those who have put a hole straight through its flipper for the rest of its life. Yeah, so yeah, that's the base sort of adult dragon turtle, but I would say you can greatly expand the scope of the size of these things and just level up those attacks of the things. Don't raise its armor class higher than 20. There's no real need to. If it's an increase in size, there will be a corresponding depletion in its ability to see the attacks coming at it. So its lumbering size would lower its defenses actually. You can increase the hit points, maybe keep the speed the same, and just scale up those bite and claw attacks. Probably leave the breath weapon pretty much alone unless it gets to truly colossal size, but just keep the damaging stats about the same. Otherwise, any creature that comes up against it, if it gets hits with that cone attack, it's going to get killed outright, and that's no fun for anybody. You shouldn't really be doing hundreds of points of damage in every attack unless you're going up against something like a demigod or a demon lord, that sort of thing. But yeah, dragon turtle certainly fearsome. Okay, next up, I'm going to be covering the smallest of the dragonkin. Can you guess what they are? Post some questions down below. If there's anything that you'd like to, if you think there's a dragon kind that I've missed, please let me know. And that includes, well, pretty much anything with dragon in the title. Also, don't forget, when I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to be crafting a Cthulhu bigature, miniature. It's too big to be a miniature. And sending that anywhere in the world to one lucky subscriber. So get subscribing, everybody. Thanks for watching.